prepare for the January kickoff, we are going to be engaging all employees in the Capacity Cafe. I want to make sure trustees are well informed where we're at and where we're going. So Nick Branson is going to just give you a very brief update on the results we received from the survey. We're not going through the whole survey, do not worry. But just so you are aware kind of what came back and what our next steps are. So, Nick.
Thank you. Yeah, so really just want to give you a very quick overview and hit some key highlights and insight to the survey. At your places you have the summary results from the survey and also a detailed report of the responses. So just to start us off here, as a reminder, this survey, ICAT survey or Institutional Capacity Assessment Tool, is an online survey that was developed by Achieving the Dream. This is a tool that's used across the country by Achieving the Dream institutions. It's meant to be a self-assessment for colleges to really understand their strengths and areas for improvement across these 7 key areas that have been researched to show are really essential to having student-focused culture. So those are teaching and learning, engagement and communication, strategy planning, policies and practices, leadership and vision, data technology, and equity. I'm happy to say with a lot of really great work of faculty and staff at the college, as well as special thanks to Alexa and our Student Government Association President Needs. They helped communicate and promote our survey to the college community, and we had a really good response rate that you can see here. So close to 800 responses from across the college, which has been great. You see those percentages here. Just to kind of orient you to how the survey is laid out and what some of these numbers mean in the summary report. For each question in the survey, you're given a question and then a sort of scale rating. And there's a description of what those different ratings mean from 1 to 4. With 1 really indicating kind of minimal level of capacity in place and 4 indicating exemplary level of capacity in place. Important thing to note here is for every question there's also an I don't know option, and I'll talk about that in just a second too. So our results are here, just kind of a high level in these 7 capacity areas. This is kind of in aggregate thinking about all the questions that live within each of these 7 areas. What is the overall rating? And so we're on average at the 3 kind of across the board, which is good, but there is some variation that you see there, a little bit lower in policies and practices, teaching and learning, and data and technology. And it's not atypical to see sort of similar scores. Keep in mind this is only on a 4-point scale, so you don't tend to see a lot of huge variation across. Some areas that were highest rated, greatest areas of strength, our leadership and our leadership and vision category. So those are questions like how has the president communicated about student success and how has that been part of the vision for the college. Strategy and planning, and so our recent work in creating our strategic plan certainly translated here to a lot of great things that our community is seeing at the college. Leadership and vision tied to equity, so how is equity included in our leadership and vision at the college is another highlight, and then vision and goals as well. Some areas for improvement, these were the lowest rated items or kind of categories of questions. And a lot of this has to do more with aligning some of these things to student success work. So information technologies on here and the questions embedded there are really about how does our technology work in conjunction with our student success work? How are we leveraging that well to support student success? And are we kind of aligning our strategies for picking technology and investing in that related to student success? So some work to do there. Talent development, again, similar idea. So this set of questions is in our strategy and planning section. And really asks about, are we creating talent development strategies that support our student success goals? Well, we're really at the beginning of it, developing and saying what those student success goals are. So it makes sense that our talent development will follow that, and that's part of our plans going forward, but in an area that's a little bit lower on the scale for now. Data and dissemination and application. It's really about how we're sharing information. We scored pretty well in terms of the data that we have, but how we share that and use it and make it meaningful for people is an area for improvement for us. And then lastly, just policy review, development, and implementation as well. So a little bit about some communication opportunities. So that I don't know response is a really important piece of the survey because for faculty and staff at the college, this is a lot to know. There's a lot of different areas here, and you might not know about all these pieces. But if all these pieces are really important to student success, we do kind of want everyone to know about it. And we knew that we would get a lot of I don't know responses early on, again, because we're just starting out in this work together, and we have a lot to do to communicate. But some interesting things here are retention of baccalaureate degree attainment monitored for transfer students. That's an area our IEPR department is working on, and will show up in our scorecard for the college. We just heard about some work of the foundation. So the second item about does the institution generate revenue from external sources in alignment with student success. So some work happening there, but some more work for us to do about communicating that across the college and what's happening in that space. Some of the others here, similar idea. Do we assess the benefits and impact of those efforts relative to cost? So as we're aligning our budget processes and thinking about those efforts, yes, this is an area where we will work on, but also we just need to communicate more that we're doing this. Having a formal entity and defined set of policies and procedures for data management. We have a team at college is thinking about this and working on this as well. But again, we need to communicate that across. And then lastly, just multi-year financial planning to support our student success vision and goals. So next steps for these results in the ICAT survey. We have shared the results with the college community. So these have been sent out to all faculty and staff and shared with you as well. We will really be asking folks to take a look at this and get a little familiar. And then in January, on Monday of our kickoff week, so January 13th from 10 to noon, we will hold a capacity cafe session. And that's an opportunity for the college faculty and staff to come together and really discuss these data points in more detail. So the survey itself provides a lot of good quantitative data, but we really get a lot more value from those discussions and getting some qualitative feedback about why we think these ratings are what they are. What's more in-depth knowledge about what's happening on the ground and through different experiences of different employee groups. So that would be a great opportunity for us to dig into this a little bit more. An outcome of that session is really to identify and reinforce some of those areas that are strong for CLC already, areas for improvement, and some action items or strategies that we want to use to move forward. So this will help us, both the ICAT survey and the Capacity Cafe results, to determine areas of improvement and prioritize those. It'll also help us identify those communication gaps. So thinking about those I don't know responses. In the report, you'll see there's a breakdown of that by different employee groups. So we'll be able to say, well, who is it that was saying, I really don't know about this? And then how can we use some communication to make sure those groups are aware of those things? And then also we will be pulling out select items from the ICAT survey and putting them into our scorecards. So they will be measurements of our strategic plan pillars where appropriate. Any questions?
Has this been communicated to staff?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. And is there a plan on ongoing communication to staff for this information?
Yes, so the reports have been communicated to staff and sent out, and then the follow-up Capacity Cafe, we communicated that as well, and we will invite all staff to participate in it. And we'll have ongoing kind of communication, so after that, what happens with the results next, so it'll be kind of ongoing.
And Nick has set up, he does a monthly communication, but there's also a portal that's accessible to all employees where all of our student success work is housed as well. So as transparent as possible.
Great.
Thank you, Nick. Just to wrap up, at your place, as always, you have the Ed Affairs, Student Development and Community Workforce Partnerships Recognition Weekly Updates. You can see some of the great work happening with our faculty, staff, and students. And then you have the Board of Trustee meetings and other events through May of 20 at your place. And finally, I want to extend just a public thank you to the faculty and staff for a great fall 2019 semester. I'd also like to extend my appreciation to all of you as trustees for your visibility and commitment to so many of our events this fall. In honor of your dedication to CLC, I'd like to offer you each a poinsettia, which was grown in our greenhouse by our CLC students and faculty. along with a gift of our newest addition to our bookstore, our Lancer.
We're all gonna go home and play with it.
Yes, we are. They've been having fun around campus. So thank you, and that concludes my report.